Hello and welcome to Shifty Crab Newsbreak. I am your host, Terry Jeffs, and as always, I am joined by the best beard in the business, Mr. Vince Haley.
Oh, it is lovely to be here on the news. Of course, pretty light on the news, but we get the biggest news week of them all here in a couple weeks. So that's very exciting.
Exactly. It's like 2 weeks before Christmas, and joining us, our usual Santa Claus of the Shifty Crab, it is the debating, dominating, the what's the other one? The, wait, it comes to me. Campaigning, reigning world champion, Mr. Adam Berry.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. This must be what it feels like if you have your birthday a week before Christmas, because you get fuck all, but you know there's going to be a good week next week. So
that's a really good, comparison. Actually, that must suck. Yeah, but it is going to be a E3 heavy news break tonight, guys, because this is Shifty Crab News Break, where we discuss all those juicy goodness, all the games we can't wait to get our claws on, and obviously give you a pinch of the week's gaming news. And this really is a pinch this week, but I'm sure we've got lots to discuss regarding E3. But first of all, before we get into that, big bit of news here, guys. God of War Ragnarok delayed into next year, now confirmed for release on PS4. This is over at Eurogamer by Matt Wales. God of War Ragnarok, which was originally announced for PlayStation 5 release in 2021, has been delayed into next year and will now also launch on PS4. Confirming the news on Twitter, developer Sony Santa Monica Studio explained it had made the decision to push God of War Ragnarok's release back into 2022 in order to maintain the safety and well-being of its team. Quote, since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, the full statement reads, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has showed us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Atreus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners and families. The developer continues, with this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. In addition to God of War Ragnarok revised release date, Sony has confirmed the game will be a cross-gen title, as will eagerly awaited PS5 racing sim Gran Turismo 7, and will be making its way to PlayStation 4 alongside the previously announced PS5 version. Herman Holst, head of PlayStation Studios, shared the news as part of an interview on the PlayStation blog, where it makes sense to develop a title for both PS4 and PS5. For Horizon Forbidden West, the next God of War and GT7 will continue looking at that, he explained. And if PS4 owners want to play that game, they can. If they want to go on and play the PS5 version, the game will be there for them. Guys, is there any surprised people right now on this Zoom call?
No, absolutely not. I mean, this is obvious. I think at least two, maybe all of us speculated in our E3 predictions that this was definitely going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Terry there was
no way. Yeah, Terry locked it in, and I mean, it was obvious. But the PS4 version, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
But we knew that, right? Because I was reading, I was like, we knew this the whole time. We knew this was coming to PS4, or am I wrong there?
I think
it was speculated on.
Maybe it was said. I'm a bit shocked by it, to be fair. I thought personally this was going to be a PS5 exclusive, and maybe not the PS4, but it makes sense.
Or am I getting it confused with Horizon?
Probably, because I think Horizon was announced for PS4 and PS5. I think that was one of the first they said that was going to be, cross-generation. Same with Miles Morales and all that. Which makes sense because it's still hard as shit to get a PS5 right now. But, I mean, hey, they're going to let people who own both systems play the game. That's great.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Adam.
No, it's great.
I was just going to say, it's So I listened to this interview with Herman Hulst today. It was on the official PlayStation podcast. It's like a 20-minute interview. It's quite interesting. And he, it almost as if like the way he was talking, it was like he's letting things slip instead of actually announcing it. Or maybe who's just like, hey, I'm just going to kind of announce it here. But he announced about like, mentioning about those games and just kind of like in a blasé way saying about GT7 is coming to PS4, which no one had ever mentioned before. So that was the big one for me. I was like, whoa, okay. And yeah, it's a weird one really, because at the same time, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, GT7, like Gran Turismo as a franchise, has such a huge install base, and there's going to be lots of more, I don't want to say casual gamers, but people that are not exactly going to play games like God of War and Horizon, but they do play Gran Turismo. And so obviously you want to get that in as many like players' hands, particularly in Europe. It's a huge player base there in Europe. And I said, allowing more people to play God of War, because as you mentioned, Vince, not a lot of people have PS5. But at the same time, like these games are like God of War, Horizon, and particularly Gran Turismo. These are the games that are always should be pushing the benchmark and the tech, like visually. And it does make you feel a little bit disappointed, like that it's only going to be as good as the lowest common denominator being like the PS4, so it can't, like, we're not going to be able to see these things, like particularly for me, for Gran Turismo, I want to see that as a franchise that I've always loved over the years. I've seen it kind of like just fall into the background a little bit when compared to other races, particularly like games like Forza.
Horizon.
And where back in the day that used to be like, okay, this is what this console can do. And I really want that from the next GT7. I want that to be like, okay, this is next gen visual. This is like unlike anything else we're seeing. And I feel like if it's going to be coming out on the PS4, are we really going to see that? I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Go on, Vince.
The thing is, this is kind of standard procedure for an early console's life cycle, like very, very early.
Yeah,
you usually don't see them start pushing the console's limitations until like the latter half of the generation or the console's life. So, I mean, I'm sure God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West and even GT7 will still look fantastic on the PS5. It's going to look the best and play the best on the PS5. I think, releasing it on the PS4 is not going to hurt it. But, maybe we'll see. I think we're still in that like zone of where people are still learning what these consoles can do. Like how far they can push the tech. I think by the time we see God of War 3, maybe Horizon 3, probably even as early as maybe Spider-Man 2, we'll really see them start pushing the tech a little bit more into that exclusive area.
Yeah, look how good Horizon looked though. Like we watched it the other day. How incredible that looked.
That's a good point.
And no one was sat there going, but it didn't look great. Like it was quite unanimously, looks incredible. Like, and if it plays like that, and I think Vince kind of hinted on it that this God of War, first of all, God of War 2018, incredible game to play. That doesn't need much doing to it in terms of graphics, in terms of play. They don't need to do much more with that. It was already running incredibly. So they'll just add to what they already have. Like, but God of War 3, which will likely be at the end of the PlayStation 5 cycle, you would suspect, that'll be the one where they go, okay, now all the tools are here, all the restrictions are off. Yeah. Let's show you what we can do. But God of War was a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not worried by that.
Like, end of the PlayStation 4's life cycle, they were able to push that technology forward and make a beautiful game.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about it, because I think, like Vince is saying, at the end of the cycle, we'll see what they can really do. As long as it's a step in the right direction, I think that's all you can really have at the beginning of the cycle.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it makes the most sense as well. Like, particularly for a consumer's point of view, there's a huge install base, obviously, of PlayStation 4s, And yeah, this is the normal kind of general thing that would go on in the first, at the very least in the first year of a console's lifespan. You're going to get those. But the thing where it seems weird to me is because I know full well, like if anyone's followed any lifespan of a development of a Gran Turismo game, it just gets delayed and delayed and delayed. Like we'll be lucky if we even get this game in 2022. That's like the thing that for me it's like if this game does come out at the end of 2022, maybe even like early 2023, is it still going to be coming out on the PlayStation 4? Maybe. I guess it is a little bit different nowadays because the architecture of these consoles, they are basically PCs, and it's like you wouldn't question it in a PC. You could play that you put a PC game in, you're going to play that on max settings, and it's going to look like a completely different game to if you're playing it on medium. On another PC, and that's exactly, I guess, what this is going to be, isn't it? So,
my other thought on this is obviously God of War being delayed, which current climate and it's God of War, they want to make it right. Do you think maybe part of the delay was they weren't going to do it on the PS4, but maybe they've been asked to, and maybe they've been some of these big first party games have been asked to make sure it can be on the PS4 because they can't sell enough PS5s? Because they know there's going to be a shortage for the next year.
Yeah, I do. I think that may even be either like PlayStation's decision or maybe even Sony Santa Monica. I think I mentioned this before, like a while back, that I don't. Yeah, in a way, I kind of feel like if you're Sony Santa Monica, you don't want to release this year. No. You don't want to release because who are you releasing to? Like there's not enough PS5s out there in the world. Now, we don't know what's going to happen next year. But right now, I mean, you're releasing to a very limited install base. So you do want to hold out a little bit until people can actually get that console in hand. So, I could see that definitely being a decision that they made either themselves or PlayStation made themselves.
I would like to say, just kind of loosely on point, if we get a CG trailer of God of War, and if we get a release date for Horizon over the E3 period, you will have locked in 5 points, Terry.
Wow, I'm like that.
Your predictions.
But I gotta admit, I'm doubting because of what you said. I didn't even think of it when I made the prediction. But the way that, like as you said, they revealed the first God of War, and it was just purely the gameplay. Yeah, I think they will do that again. Yeah, because I'm
hoping they do, Terry, because you're pulling out a good lead before we go into E3 here. I think you're the only one with points so far.
Do they even have any like CG, like any cinematics in God of War? Or is it purely all from the perspective of the gameplay?
It's purely all from the perspective of the gameplay. There's no.
So I'm not going to get.
There's no screen cuts. There's no screen.
Yeah,
cuts
exactly. Yeah, so I didn't realize that. So I should have. God damn it! That's what I should have.
They might not do that for this one.
Yeah,
they might not. Yeah,
well,
I believe they probably would.
Yeah,
but I know in the Raising Kratos thing, they talk about it and they say that it was a hindrance at times. But, like it's worth it in the long run, though. That game's incredible.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
moving on. Onto E3 news. Nintendo Direct E3 2021 date and time confirmed. Here's when to watch. And this is over at Games Radar by Connor Sheridan. The Nintendo Direct E3 2021 event has an official date and time, and Nintendo's teasing a big helping of announcements about Nintendo's Switch games. According to the announcements, the Nintendo Direct E3 2021 event will kick off on June 15th at 9 a.m. PT, 5 p.m. BST, and run for 40 minutes. The presentation will exclusively focus on games coming to Nintendo Switch, and most of the included titles will be planned for release this year. Following the end of the Direct will be a 3-hour Nintendo Treehouse live event where Nintendo will invite viewers to watch gameplay deep dives on a handful of Switch games. Both events will be digital only and will be available to stream on Nintendo's official site. Guys, are you excited about that? We were speculating about this on the last news break. You know, when is Nintendo going to show their cards? What do you think of that?
Yeah. E3, give me all of the content, all of the time. Let's go. Any content is good content from E3. I want to see it.
Sure. it's also Nintendo, and the last Nintendo Direct we watched was very underwhelming. So I'm trying to maintain my Nintendo hype a little bit, even though I do have Breath of the Wild 2 on my predictions list. And I got a feeling if they're doing a treehouse, a 3-hour deep dive treehouse, there's going to be some games that either we've already seen or there's games we haven't seen yet that are currently playable, or at least in a playable state. Does that include Breath of the Wild 2? Maybe, maybe not. It really depends. Because last time we saw that was a CG trailer again. So who knows what state that game is in right now.
I gotta
say, what do you think we're going to see in this? Sorry, Vin. Sorry. What were you saying?
Yeah. No, go on. You can.
I say, what do you think we're going to see in the actual Direct? Like, do you think it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to see Breath of the Wild 2?
I mean, it's probably their most hyped game, so maybe.
You think they've got to show or tease something at least. I know there's the rumors of the new Donkey Kong game. There's rumors of it, like the team that did Odyssey. They're doing a Donkey Kong game apparently.
I mean, hey, that'd be a pretty good game because Odyssey was very good.
2D though. Apparently it's a 2D game. Yeah. Mario Golf. That's got to be there again, hasn't it? The highlight of the last Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It was. The
and Splatoon 3. Was it 3?
Yeah. I think we'll see that. I think we'll see quite a bit of that. Deep dive.
85 minutes of
I've got to say,
3.
I do love the treehouse that they do. I particularly, and like when they announced Breath of the Wild, and they did that. I just loved the whole thing after that, where just for hours. I remember just kind of watching it all on Twitch, and they do the, someone sitting down playing it, and then someone kind of just narrating like what's going on, and I love all that because it just gives you time to, you just watch the Direct, and then it gives you time to kind of really process everything, and then you're just kind of watching everything play out, and it's kind of taking its time, and it's nice. I don't know, it just kind of spreads it all out over a whole like evening, and just like. But I'm just trying to think. Was the last Treehouse? Was that the last? Was that Has there been one since then? Because that's the only one I can remember. That when Breath of the Wild was announced.
I feel like they did one. Was it for Super Smash or no?
Maybe they did.
I'm not sure.
That one that really just sticks out in my head when they did the Breath of the Wild one. It was so cool when we were seeing it the first time, and they're showing us how to do the cooking and all the different stuff. I was like, oh wow, this looks amazing.
I think with the rumors of the new Switch, obviously, like building up Steam, that it's almost guaranteed that there is a Switch Pro or whatever they call it. And the other rumor being that Breath of the Wild 2 will be a launch title for that Switch.
Yeah.
If they are not, if that has been made for the Switch Pro in mind, but can still be played on the Switch, they are not going to show any of the Switch play. It would only be the Switch Pro that they're going to show those graphics off on. So it all depends if they have announced the Switch Pro at this Direct, because they don't usually do hardware at these Directs. Usually games. And I think they said on the thing pure software, didn't they? So if they don't show the Switch Pro, I don't think the treetop will be Breath of the Wild 2. That's my opinion.
Let's not forget though, it's the Zelda anniversary, and we're still waiting on this like huge bunch of Zelda news, which we didn't get anything of from the last Direct.
Well, we got the one, didn't we? We got the remake.
Oh yeah, we got that, but come on, come on.
Yeah, I think they will listen. If they do E3 without mentioning Breath of the Wild 2, so many people on Twitter are going to cry and bitch and moan.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to. They'll have to show something.
Zelda fans are slowly becoming Final Fantasy.
Fans.
Yeah, Star Wars fans and Final Fantasy.
Or
fans.
Sonic fans.
And Sonic fans. Just every fan base I'm a part of that I can't stand.
Every single
Where
one.
everyone just argues because everyone has a certain vision about this one thing and nothing's alike, and no one can agree on anything.
Please, everybody.
Yeah. People hate Toon Link, and people others hate adult Link, and it's come on.
And some people just hate Link.
Yeah,
for some reason.
This guy right here. Anyway, moving on to other
Shameless.
E3 news. E3 provides a little more detail on what to expect each day, and this is over at Eurogamer by Tom Phillips. With just a week to go until the still rather nebulous E3 2021, its organizer, the ESA, has issued a rough guide on what to expect via its live stream each day. Alongside concrete press conference details already announced separately by certain companies, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Nintendo, there are mentions of various publisher presentations which will slot into E3 2021 programming. Hopefully, we'll get a clearer time frame for everything over the next week. Just to, as I'm going through this, just to want to make sure I've got the most up-to-date one here, unless there's been something released since then.
E3 released their own.
Yeah. I don't know if this is pulling from this or what. Because I tried to
bring
find
it up. I'll bring it up just in case it's
okay. So anyway, Saturday, 12th of June will include press conferences from Ubisoft and Gearbox, with a pre-show live stream starting at 6 p.m. UK time. Ubisoft dated its E3 week Ubisoft Forward several months ago. It will be broadcast at 8 p.m. UK time. There's no word yet on when Gearbox will do its thing. Sunday, the 13th of June, will be headlined by Microsoft, Xbox, and Bethesda Game Showcase at 6 p.m. UK time. Now, I know it hasn't got it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, we also now know Sunday will feature a special presentation from Square Enix, the PC Gaming Show, and the Future Gaming Show, plus announcements from Warner Brothers Games and others. E3's live stream starts at 4:45 UK time.
The Blood will also be shown at that time, and 24 Entertainment will also be featured.
Yeah, and I remember reading somewhere that the Square Enix one starts at something like 8:15 p.m. UK time, something like that.
I don't have those. Oh, hang on a sec. No, I don't have those times. I just have.
Okay. If I make it right, it should pretty much start shortly after Microsoft's one ends.
Yeah, I don't think there's much difference. Yeah, I think they're back to back, aren't they?
Yeah, so we've got a nice
minutes.
This is the Sunday's the day, guys, for me. Sunday is the day.
It's the day.
We've got the Microsoft and then the Square Enix event. This is going to be huge. This is, looking forward to that. And then Monday, 14th of June, will feature presentations from Take-Two Interactive and Capcom, among others. E3's live stream starts at 4 p.m. UK time. Would you say that's the biggest one you're excited for? And Adam?
No, yes, Take-Two. I'm really interested to see what they're bringing. I'm a big fan of a lot of their titles. Xbox is the big one, isn't it? Really, the Xbox and Bethesda. Hopefully, that answers a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And then I'll be excited for when PlayStation do their state of play. Hopefully, sometime very soon as well. But yeah, I think there's some really interesting things at this E3. Ubisoft is always a good one to watch as well. They usually have something fun in the works.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and then Tuesday, 15th of June, is headlined by Nintendo's recently announced 40-minute E3 Nintendo Direct and subsequent 3 hours of Treehouse Live programming. That's at 5 p.m. UK time. E3's live stream for Tuesday will start at 4 p.m. UK time and also feature announcements from Bandai Namco, among others. So
the other thing to notice on this, sorry, we have differently here. The broadcast will round out with the official E3 2021 award show, which has been said to have a lot of announcements within it.
Yeah.
Some big surprises within it.
Interesting.
Is this the thing that's like being hosted by Greg Miller? Like, is he kind of just...
I'm not sure. I think he's in between stuff, isn't it? I think he starts some of the... I don't know what he's officially doing.
I imagine he's just kind of like does the in-between or the conferences thing, just kind of like summarizing it and kind of just going to the next thing, just filling in those gaps. So maybe they chuck in the award.
I'm sure he'll be doing interviews and throwing them in there as well.
Yeah.
But so apparently the award show at the end is something that is quite heavily, people are saying you don't want to miss that.
Okay.
So interesting. And that's where we'll end our E3 coverage. That'll be our last thing that we do as well, I think so.
So when do we think that we're going to get a PlayStation State of Play? And
July.
when do we think it will be announced? You reckon it'll be as late as July?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it's going to be like they're going to bookend this. I'm thinking they're going to like drop it for the following week or something.
When does Summer of Games start? Because they've got to avoid that, haven't they?
Summer Games Fest is Thursday, June 10th.
Yeah, it kicks off
In
at
the
the
same
same
article.
time.
Yeah.
Kicks off and then it ends after. I think it ends after E3, so you've got to clear that. Yeah, maybe the very end of June. You want to leave like a week in between because you don't want people to be fatigued.
Yeah.
Let them
Because we
digest
just had a
all
State
that.
of Play. Yeah.
Horizon special though.
I guess you let everything digest.
I'd say July personally, but you don't know. PlayStation might throw it in straight away. They're probably likely to announce that they're doing this when theirs is at the very end of E3.
Yeah, the thing is they don't announce like
you get
normally when they do
notice.
Yeah, exactly. They give you, which is great for us. They literally just give you like a few days. So yeah,
I like it though. It's exciting when you see that State of Play logo come up. You're like, oh, it's kicking off. Here we go.
Yeah, I do like that.
So now I'm picturing like during the award show, there's like a small like another like logo trailer for God of War Ragnarok. Ends and it says see more at State of Play, like June or July, whatever. That would be a hell of a drop. That'd be a hell of a drop.
It's a good shout. Only to piss on your parade a little bit is PlayStation have not done E3, so I can't imagine E3 are going to give them the time. Like I don't know, maybe they will. I don't know what the relationship's like with E3 and Sony, with Sony being the only ones not doing it.
Well, what if this is at the end of Summer Games Fest? What if they let Summer Games Fest play out? I think last year Jeff Keighley did like a final thing. Yeah,
there's an end of season thing. Yeah, there's a big blowout there as well, which apparently is like a mini awards. Do you know what? It's E3's great, like we said. It condenses everything. It's fantastic. But with the summer, whatever it's called, I've just forgotten the name. Summer Festival, Games Festival. Yeah. Jeff's Summer's Fun, like whatever it's called. It just muddles it up again.
Yeah,
it does.
Because you're like, okay, so which is for which? Like, okay, E3's over, but hang on, there's still 5 shows to see. Like, and then Sony will go, our turn.
I do miss that, and I don't want to complain because we're getting E3
I'm
back
excited,
in some form, but it's not like you never be able to match of that day of having like within 24 hours have Microsoft have their event and then PlayStation. It was just so there was just so much hype, like because that they're both going on the same day and they've both just got to bring their A game. And it was just, that was just so good. I want that back.
And it was the other side of it. You'd watch whoever went first, but that was incredible. That's incredible. And then you think, I've got another one to watch.
Yeah.
Another big one. And it was very rare that they both had a bad year. So you're almost guaranteed to have at least one really good show.
Yeah.
So but you know what? We've missed E3. It's our first E3, so you never forget your first. So I'm excited.
Do you guys? I don't want to go obviously down this topic forever, but do you guys have a like standout moment, like memory from E3? Like you just like either your earliest one or just like your favorite, like not an actual moment, but like. A conference or like an actual show or announcement or something.
Yeah, my favorite was the favorite moment, and it became my favorite show, was the God of War reveal. Really? How epic that was done was like incredible. I'd say Last of Us Part 2 when they teased that as well, just for the reaction.
Yeah,
it's the reaction moments for me that are always the special moments, when the crowd lose their shit. I really like that.
Where are you, Vince?
Me too. I mean, in recent memory, because that's all I can really remember. I think I didn't start watching E3 live until like several years ago at this point. But it had to have been the Resident Evil 2 like trailer they did. Was that even E3?
What,
Was that
Resident
even
Evil 2
E3?
remake?
Yeah, the remake.
Oh, well,
Was that E3 or no? I don't remember now. But it was like that shot of like the rat and then it backs out slowly.
Yeah.
And then it's like the zombie and you hear a shot and then it's just Leon. That was so good. It was very hype. I need to look it up.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was E3 or not. I think it was. But what about you, Terry?
The first time I can actually remember, I may have watched bits live before, but the first year that I can actually remember watching it like live and just like taking everything, I want to say it was probably 2005. It was the one where they announced basically the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and obviously at that point I was like so already like it didn't matter what they were going to show for that PlayStation 3. I was in, you know what I mean? Because that's the point I was at. And I think I was like out, I must have been in a complete echo chamber because I didn't realize at the time that it was supposedly like such a bad conference, you know, because obviously there was the higher price point and then it was just a lot of stuff fell flat. I was just all in. I was sold on the whole HD dream. I was just like, so like, because I remember them showing, I bought the TV. This is how bad I was. I bought the TV that they showed. They announced that. I remember them saying like, because this is obviously pre-HD days. Remember when we was all going HD ready and everything was like they were introducing like 720p TVs. And then like, I think it was in PlayStation's like conference. They were like, yeah, this is the PlayStation 3. It can and this is like Blu-ray. This is going to be the new thing that's coming. And it's like better than this other HD DVD thing. It's like, these are all the like, and obviously I love films and stuff. So it's like these are all the studios that are backing Blu-ray, and this is what it can do, and this is how much it can store in it, and it can output in 1080p, which is called full HD. And here is the first full HD TV coming out the Sony Bravo. And I was like, I remember watching this, and I just started my first job. I was like, I'm pre-ordering it. I literally pre-ordered the TV, and I pre-ordered the PlayStation 3, and I was just like, come on, let's do this. But I also remember it must have been the same year with, unless I'm wrong, with Xbox 360 when they came out and they announced like that everything, you know, they GTA 4 episodes and all that kind of stuff. When they come up with the tattoo, it was just like I think it was that year, and it may even be the same. No, it wouldn't have been the same year as the Wii, would it? That would have been the following. Year. I don't know, but that was the first time I remember just really just kind of like just watching everything and watching it all live and taking it all in. I'm just like so hyped. So hyped.
The PS4 was the one that I watched like really intently.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the PS4 and the Xbox One watching their conferences. That was the hype moment. I remember the PS3 one, and I remember begging my grandma to let me have that TV.
Yeah.
And then she went, well, you do need a new TV. How much does it cost? And then I told her the price. She was like,
yeah, it was insane.
No,
it was insane.
No, you cannot have that TV.
Yeah. I had to pay that off for a long time, but well, what an amazing TV.
How much was that TV again?
Oh, it was a lot. It was a
lot. Even in today's money, it was a lot.
It was a lot. It was like I think it was over $3,000. I can't remember if it was $4,000. And this we're talking about in 2005. It was but very much it was literally the first 1080p TV that you could get. It was like introducing it, and wow, that was like hooking that up. I remember because I had my the PS3 got delayed, didn't it? So I didn't even get it on release. And then I had my 360, which I'd been playing on a standard SD TV, like box TV. And then I remember like plugging that in to my HD TV when it came out, and just like it felt like I just jumped a whole nother generation again. I was like, what the hell? Playing Fight Night Round 3. Like, I was like, oh my God.
Great game.
Oh, God, talk about this forever. But anyway.
Resident Evil 2 remake was shown at E3 2018.
2018.
Okay.
Was that
the trailer? Yeah.
My favorite ever conference was whatever, it might have been 2017, 2018, was PlayStation's Year of Dreams. You know, the one where they just literally just like no talking, we just got an orchestra, and it was just like banger after banger after banger.
That's God of War.
Yeah, it was that one.
God of War year, isn't it? 2017.
It was just insane. It was just that was the best, like most complete show I've just ever seen.
I'm pretty sure. Vince, are you looking into it there, or are you like 2017 must have been God of War's E3, wasn't it? 2017.
This was 2018 for Resident Evil. Let's see. What was 2017?
It was just perfect.
It was had the PlayStation. Yeah, because it was the Year of Dreams.
Yeah.
Year of Dreams. 2015.
Oh,
E3 2015 was the Year of Dreams, according to GameSpot.
And that was like when they announced like Crash Bandicoot, and it wasn't it all that, and there was a lot of stuff.
No, Crash Bandicoot must have been a little bit later than that.
Was it? They didn't show it. They were just they played the music, didn't they? And it was like,
no, that was 2016.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look into.
I might be wrong. I get the years muddle.
Yeah.
Vince's one with it. He's diving into it. What have we got, Vince?
I'm diving into it. Not very much. First thing that comes up is the GameSpot game facts thread.
I know exactly
from 4 years ago.
1 second.
Let's see. Year of Dreams. What? 2015.
Right, why don't you guys look into that and then come back to me with the research?
I've got it.
Okay.
Here we go.
E3 2015, they announced The Last Guardian, Horizon Zero Dawn, Hitman, Dreams, Firewatch, Destiny: The Taken King, the Final Fantasy VII Remake,
this was it, wasn't it? Because that was the bit.
No Man's Sky, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And there was more.
Oh my
God.
Don't
forget Shenmue 3.
I did say that.
Did you say that? I wasn't paying attention.
That was it. There was just like...
I'm paying attention.
That was insane. I mean, obviously for me personally, just Final Fantasy Remake, when that actually happened, I just couldn't... And that didn't leak.
No.
That didn't leak.
No. Surprisingly.
I was just like, oh man. Wow. Yeah, that's the all-time great for me. Anyway, speaking of No Man's Sky, Adam, you just mentioned No Man's Sky is getting a complete visual overhaul in the Prisms update, and this is over at IGN by Kat Bailey. The galaxy will soon be much prettier, courtesy of a substantial free update Hello Games is releasing for No Man's Sky. The new Prisms update will overhaul virtually every aspect of No Man's Sky visuals, and the effect is spectacular. Highlights include new weather effects, a night sky shining with the light of thousands of stars, and rideable beetles, worms, and butterflies. Hello Games is also introducing new hyperdrive warp effects and more exotic caves. The patch notes are extensive, covering not just the visual improvements, but a host of quality of life improvements. They're definitely worth a read in order to get a feel for the full scope of No Man's Sky's improvements. This is No Man's Sky's third major update of 2021, following on from Companions in February and Expeditions in April. It's primarily geared towards its next-gen effect, with Xbox Series X and PS5 players finding more detailed reflections, improved lighting, and other enhancements. PC players will be able to take advantage of DLSS and enhanced frame rates. Yeah, I mean, this is, I know I keep going back to it, and every time we have an update, kind of have to talk about it, but this stands alone for me with like Final Fantasy 14 in just how much this game has just turned around from, and it's a bit harsh to compare it to the original Final Fantasy 14, which was just outright broken and a failure. I don't ever think No Man's Sky was like that. It just was very very under-delivered on the promise that it set out from the beginning. But my God, has it over-delivered in what it originally promised now. It's insane.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It was just a mess to start with, but the way that they have worked and continued to work. And I tried it when it first came out, like saw what it was. I've never gone back to it, but I always keep an eye on it, because it's that redemption story, isn't it? There's probably not a bigger one really in like the current gaming landscape. And it's good to see. They owned up to their mistakes and fixed them.
And all free. All completely free. Just keep adding more and more and more stuff. Do you reckon you'll ever return back to it, Vince, or is it not for you?
It wasn't for me when I first saw it, and I still don't think it's for me, generally. Just because I don't really get the appeal of it. I mean, I hate to say it, sorry, No Man's Sky fans out there, but it just seems like Minecraft in space. And it doesn't really, yeah, I said it. Ain't no going back. Clip it.
Terrible.
Yeah, yell at me on the internet. Terrible take. But I mean, it's just, there's nothing that really clicks for me about it. That's like, this game is amazing. This game looks fantastic. I need to play it. But I mean, hey, they're doing the right thing, putting out all these amazing updates for free. Like, keep going, Sean Murray. Sean Murray, right? Is that right?
Yeah, Sean Murray. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad as well for him because like up to the release to No Man's Sky, I love, and obviously like he made a mistake releasing it how it was and all that kind of stuff. We know all that. We've talked about that forever, but like I really find Sean Murray's like passion for what he does like infectious. So like what during the whole build up to the original game and hearing him talk about it and what he wanted to do with it and stuff, and I really thought it sucked like how much he was getting, the hate he was getting, getting death threats. Studio was getting death threats because they're like a really good bunch of guys at Hello Games, like really good like team, and what they've done is just honestly, and that's the thing that was sad, that the backlash that he got was understandable, but they're just a tiny. People were forgetting that this was just like a tiny indie game, and because of just how miraculous it was, what they did, people were just like treating it like it was this AAA game, and it was just a small group of people that just made this like insane thing happen, where they made like the biggest like world game, like a world that's ever created in a game, but. No, I just love to see this whole turnaround, and I do get massive like FOMO from like seeing all this stuff because I did buy it on launch and I did enjoy my time with it, but I just kind of just dropped off of it. But seeing all the stuff they're adding, I get the same FOMO that I see when I'm, seeing all the updates for like Final Fantasy 14, and which made me go back to that. I'm seeing this, and I know that it makes me feel at peace knowing that it's just constantly improving. So when I do go to it, it's just going to get better and better and better. Because this is right up my street. Because I love stuff where you can just explore a galaxy and just go to different places and stuff like that. So it's awesome. It's awesome. So just I hope they just carry on doing what they do.
I mean, hey, he achieved the unthinkable. He unmolyneuxed himself. So that's
absolutely.
He did way better than
if only
did.
If only Peter Molyneux could have done did this like on several of his games. That would have been great.
That would have been great.
Actually made the Fable series like be what he promised. That would be good.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait to see for the next one. It's not him doing it, but we'll have to wait and see.
I hope so.
We've got a new Battlefield reveal coming in on June 9th. This is over at Polygon by Michael McWhirtle. Electronic Arts and developer DICE will reveal the next game in the Battlefield franchise on June 9th. The publisher announced on Tuesday. This year's Battlefield will be unveiled next Wednesday at the conclusion of a countdown that starts at 10 a.m. EDT, 7 a.m. PDT. Exactly when the game will be revealed is unclear. EA has revealed little about the direction of this year's Battlefield entry, colloquially referred to as Battlefield 6, but it may just bear the name Battlefield. Oscar Gabrielson, general manager at DICE, has called the sequel a bold step for the franchise. In April, DICE teased an imminent reveal of the game. Gabrielson said that the franchise's biggest team ever, DICE's studio at Gothenburg in Los Angeles, are joined by Criterion Games this time. Will deliver a jaw-dropping experience for you to enjoy later in 2021. Quote, We're in daily playtesting mode right now, polishing, balancing, and making the best possible Battlefield game we can. Gabrielson said, I can tell you it is a bold step. It has everything we love about Battlefield and takes all of it to the next level. Epic scale, all-out military warfare, crazy, unexpected moments, game-changing destruction, massive battles, packed with more players and mayhem than ever before, all brought to life with the powers of next-gen consoles and PCs. Since then, the new Battlefield has been subject to a variety of leaks, including screenshots of low-quality video of an internal presentation trailer created for the game. Those leaks point to a modern-day setting for the next Battlefield, something players haven't seen since 2013's Battlefield 4. Vince, how excited are you for Battlefield 6?
Oh, I am very excited. If there's a company out there that can probably push next-gen hardware to where it probably even further than we've seen so far, it's DICE.
Mm-hmm.
Because they nail visuals each and every time. Honestly, I picked up Battlefield 4 when I got my Xbox One way back in 2013, and that game was gorgeous. Like, that game looked and felt like, next-gen, how it should look, how it should feel. Compared to, I also bought that year's Call of Duty, and it looked like shit, comparatively. So DICE knows their visuals. And for them to be taking the power of next-gen consoles, at least what they could do with probably whatever short period of time they had to use it, they can absolutely make something great. And I really hope this is the time that they put a good bit of effort behind their single-player campaigns. Because as I said on the podcast previously when I tried out Battlefield 5, because that's the one I missed, I said that if they narrowed down their focus on at least one single-player story and made that, the center of what a Battlefield experience could be, if they expanded that and made it like at least a 6 hours campaign, it could be something fantastic. And I hope this is what they're doing. But we'll just have to wait and see. June 9th, hopefully.
Adam, you have any excitement for this?
Yeah, similar situation really to Vince. Like, I want this game to be good. Like, graphically, it'll be incredible. But yeah, their stories used to be really good. But the last few, when obviously they've darted around and mixed all these stories together, kind of takes you out of it. And just would like a concise, like, linear story, and just enjoy it. Yeah, and the spectacles that Battlefield usually put in are usually top notch. So, but I will not touch the online one moment.
Really?
No. I used to be good at the online, but now no, you can't get me anywhere close to that.
It's funny because I'm not into the modern military shooter games. I'm just not. Like I said to you before, like I see stuff like that and my brain just kind of turns off. But
yeah,
I do have a special place in my heart for the Battlefield, mainly for the older ones, because I started playing Battlefield like 1942, when that was out, when it first came out, and that was just insane, for the time, because it was just so ahead of the time that you had such a big player account, on the teams, and the maps were huge, and obviously the different vehicles and stuff like that. But the last one that I actually played was 3. I played quite a lot of 3, and I'm actually the opposite with Battlefield. I really couldn't care less about the campaign. Those games are all about, maybe because it's just the way I used to play 1942. I don't think they even had a campaign. Those games to me are just multiplayer deathmatch games. I don't really care. I just want to chuck me into this map. I want to have fun. So yeah, I don't know what the demand is like right now for those games, because like I said, I haven't played them since 3. I don't know if there is a huge cry out or an interest for a good campaign or not, or if we're getting further and further away from that. Don't know, but yeah, like to echo what you said, Vince, the DICE engines are just so cool. Like particularly with the way that the environments are, destructible and the sound, everything, they are really normally a showcase for that type of game. So
for sure,
I'm interested to see more.
I would love a Bad Company.
Yeah,
oh,
God.
please! For
Have
the
we
love
had a
of
Bad
God.
Company since 2? Or has there
No.
been? No.
No, 2 is the last one. I would
That
love
really
a new
was
Bad Company. That was great
Such a good
storytelling
game.
as well.
Mhm.
Such good storytelling in those games.
That was great.
Yeah,
They
I
were.
love a Bad Company.
Yeah.
There was a film like it's not bad like Bad Company at all, but it's kind of like them going off and doing their own thing. It was a Netflix special that had Ben Affleck. Did it have Oscar
This
Isaac?
sounds familiar. I feel like
Um,
I know what you're talking about.
It was set in maybe Bolivia,
Mm.
and there's a basically they're all retired from the army, and there's a drug lord there, and they decide that they're going to go in and steal his money and use all their army skills, their tactics to go in and just take this guy's money because they're sick of coming out of the war and having nothing.
Mm.
So they go in and I watched the film. I was like, this would be such a good game.
Is it Triple Frontier?
Triple Frontier. That's the one. Is
I've
it
never
Ben
heard
Affleck?
of this.
It's Ben Affleck, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal, Charlie Hunnam, and Garrett Hedlund. Never heard of that
How do
one.
I not know this with this
big
cast?
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's a good watch.
Mm.
It's not gonna change your life, but when you watch it, you just want to play a game of it.
Yeah.
Because it's got the stealth, it's got the action, it's got great action scenes, it's got like those character moments. Like it's a really good. And I was watching, I was like, this would be a good game.
Mm.
And Bad Company was what I was thinking. I was like, this would be a good Bad Company game.
Perfect.
But anyway, sorry.
No, it's good. It's all good. Good information. I'll check that out though, because I don't know how that slipped by off my radar. Next story: Elite Dangerous Odyssey gets second major round of fixes following lambasted launch, and this is over at Eurogamer by Matt Wales. Frontier has released a second major update for Space Sim Elite Dangerous's poorly received Odyssey expansion, bringing a raft of much-needed improvements ranging from UI enhancements and graphics optimizations to AI tweaks and many, many bug fixes. Odyssey, which finally gives players the much-requested ability to step outside their ships and stroll around the galaxy in first person, was lambasted by players when it launched last month, quickly accruing a mostly negative rating on Steam as purchases highlighted performance issues, server outages, and a heap of bugs, despite Frontier having held a month-long paid alpha prior to launch, ostensibly to fix any glaring problems ahead of release. As the negative reviews continued, Frontier Developments boss David Braben stepped in, releasing a statement apologizing to those who have been suffering from these problems and insisting that addressing Odyssey's myriad reported issues was the studio's priority and focus. Frontier's first major post-launch patch arrived at the end of May, touching upon everything from balance issues and bug fixes to audio and visual improvements. Elite Dangerous' Odyssey's second major update is now available and proves to be even more extensive. Once again, the bulk of the update is bug fixes, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to add this on here because I think the last time we had this on Newsbreak was when they first showed footage of this. I think it was the alpha back then. And yeah, this is a bit of a similar thing to what we saw as I was just talking about with Hello Games, in that David Braben and Frontier in general, again, such a great development team, and I only want the best for them. But this update, I don't know who was asking for it, because honestly, it seems like a bit of a bad decision that they went with, because people have been requesting, for anyone that knows Elite Dangerous, it's obviously a huge game, and people have been asking for years that they wanted to be able to land on planets and get out of their ships, and just walk around on these planets. And but instead of doing that, they've introduced obviously being able to drive on planets, but they've kind of made another game upon itself, rather than just kind of focusing on what the game is, which is a space sim and doing planet exploration. They've just made this like shooter. And that's not where the strength of this game is. And it just seems like it's like, why have you done this? Because Elite, has been really well received, like critically, and for the kind of people that play it are obviously really into space sims and stuff like that. And now they've kind of done this, and it's now kind of turned that around, and it's put Frontier particularly in a negative light. And it's just a shame. And it looks like maybe something that they can fix. I don't know. Or maybe they should just kind of scrap this all together. I just really don't know what they're going to go from here, because it's just, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have followed much of this, or if you know much about what's going on with Odyssey, but
nope.
No.
Well, we spoke about it on the news. I think it was just me and you, Terry.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, we spoke about it. So I've looked into it a little bit, but yeah, they just seem to miss the mark quite a bit with what they think people want and what people actually want.
Yeah.
Like, they seem a bit out of touch when you, from a very outside perspective.
Yeah. I just I feel like and obviously I'm not part of the fan base at the moment. I have the game and I played it at launch, but I feel like they should just be doubling down on what makes Elite tick, like what, the actual the space sim itself, and not focusing on trying to make this, because it really reminds me of what happened with EVE Online and CDP when they did their shooter game, which they released on PlayStation 3. If you remember that, they tried to make, and that was
in with EVE
Online. And that was a separate game at least, but it just kind of fell flat because the game itself wasn't fun. It wasn't a good shooter, and I obviously, by the looks of this, looks like a similar kind of thing. So it's a shame. I hope they can turn it around, because David Braben and the team at Frontier are amazing. I just only wish the best for them, and I hope that Elite continues to get better, because again, that's another one of these games which I keep seeing footage of it, and I get huge FOMO because I just want to be playing it. But when I see stuff like this, I'm like, I'm glad I never opted in for this alpha. So, and on to our last story. Cyberpunk 2077 gets a new game director. This is over at Game Informer by Liana Rupert. Cyberpunk 2077 has found a new game director in Gabriel Amatangelo. I got that right? Did I butcher that, guys? Following former Quest director Metu. Come on.
Good luck. I got nothing for this one. Yikes.
Matthias Thomas Kiewicz. I'm so sorry, Thomas. Stepping down from his role and leaving CD Projekt Red entirely. The new game director joined up with the studio back in January of 2020. He joined the team as creative director for Cyberpunk 2077. Prior to that, he has worked on several major RPG experiences, including Dragon Age, Inquisition's expansions, which did much to tie the base game together, and Star Wars: The Old Republic. With his RPG background and ability to tie in an ongoing story flawlessly, his leadership could mean amazing things for Cyberpunk 2077's future following its chaotic launch. Amatangelo will be leading the development charge as Cyberpunk 2077 continues to get into the shape it was promised to be in at launch, as well as the promised DLC for this open world adventure. Adam Badowski, the former Cyberpunk 2077 game director, has stepped down from his role to focus on other aspects of game development under the CDPR umbrella in a different leadership position. With more Cyberpunk experiences on the way and a return to the Witcher franchise, there is plenty of work to be done for the Polish studio. This is all part of the revised plan of action for the studio after its game was pulled from Sony storefronts after it was revealed that the marketing for the game was not what it seemed. So, guys, do we think this is going to put things on track? Is this the turnaround that we saw with Final Fantasy 14? Is this the turnaround that we saw with No Man's Sky? Are we going to get the same thing for Cyberpunk 27? I really hope so, guys. I'm wishing it. Come on, Adam, you're shaking your head.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're thinking.
No, the damage is done with this game. Because
Wow.
All they're doing now is getting further and further away from the tech that it was released on. They're going to focus everything onto the current gen. They're not going to talk about the previous gen, where they sold people down a river of lies, basically. Like you can sugarcoat it, but it was what it was. Like a lot of false advertising in that game for what was delivered. And it doesn't matter if they change director, they might be able to improve on what they bring out further forward. But if you look at the roadmap that they've just released, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Even their roadmap is a mess. Like I don't know if either of you have seen this.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
but it's an absolute.
It's very vague.
It's a shit show. Like, it doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
Like I can see Vince looking at it right now, and you can see the confusion in his face. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And if this is them showing, hey guys, we messed up. This is how we're going to get out of it. And even that doesn't make sense. I will just.
But that roadmap, that's not since this new game director's taken over, is it? No.
I'm not sure, but it has just been released, so you presume he would have to have okayed it. I think the game director is coming on for the DLCs, is the way I see it, and there's content that is not out yet.
But what about the next gen versions, like the?
Well, I'm sure he'll have a say in that, but I don't. They could release the best next gen version of this. They could release keep adding DLC till the cows come home. They have fucked over the current I don't know where we are, the previous gen, current gen, or however you call it. Like, they fucked them over. You can't even buy this on PlayStation.
No.
Because PlayStation said no. You've missold everybody. Like, I don't like shitting on a company. And I don't shit on CD Projekt Red at all, because I love The Witcher, and I had so much hope for this game, but I do not think you can have the redemption story that Murray had, and
I think you can. I don't think you can have the redemption story, because I don't think there's no undoing what they did with the. With, like, as you said, like with the previous gen copies. I do think that there's still hope to turn this game around. Maybe this is just false hope, because I was so hyped for this game. I was so hyped for this game, honestly. Like, this was the game I bought a PS5 for. I got a PS5 because I wanted to play Cyberpunk in the best way that I could play on day one. And it was coming out, they were the same day release, weren't they? I believe on the day before, or whatever it was. And then obviously I heard the news, what was happening. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm just going to hold off. I'm going to wait until this is like kind of ready. And then obviously you see how bad things really were with the last gen versions. I don't think there's any undoing of that. I do hope that there is a way that they can keep improving this, doing the same thing of what Hello Games have done with No Man's Sky, to the point where the next gen versions, at the very least, are the game that we were promised. I think we're going to get there, and I'm going to hold out until that happens. And it sucks for all the people that already bought the shitty version and stuff like that. But I personally am waiting until that I see that game the way it needs to be, and then I'm going to get it.
But a huge chunk of people who don't have that option, which is why I think if this was. Maybe there's stuff against them. If this was a normal climate and there wasn't COVID, so there was more supply of next-gen consoles, so less people had to play it on the previous console, which I was one of them, and I played about an hour and then got it refunded, like when the refunds came, because it was unplayable. Then maybe this would look a little bit different, but nobody has the next-gen consoles when you look at the grand scheme of things. Most people are still on the current gen consoles, and they can't play a game that has been promised to them. But the production time of this was development time was a long time. This would be like GTA 6 coming out and it being unplayable
Yeah.
Like, they're not a small company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, No Man's Sky, you could get away with that. That was their first game, wasn't it? Or was it the first game?
They did Joe Danger, but like,
Oh, sorry, Joe Danger. Yeah, sorry. But this wasn't supposed to be a AAA. Sean Murray was just very Molyneux-esque and could sell the shit out of this game.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk was a AAA game with a huge cost, and they messed it up. Like they could. There's a redemption to it in the sense of if they can fix it for the next gen.
Yeah.
Right.
There is something there, but I don't think this game will ever be looked back on in a fond light, however good their roadmap is, because of how catastrophically bad the start of this was. I think it is too much damage. And even No Man's Sky, if someone has a loose knowledge of games, knows No Man's Sky fucked up at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, and Cyberpunk was off the scale. It was on like the BBC.
Yeah.
It was huge news. Like, I don't think they can. I give credit to them for doing it. Like, if they can fix it like to a state for the next gen, and they can put in the time,
I think
and
they've got
the DLCs,
to, right? They've got to. Like, there's too much money invested into it.
They have to, but they got to do it right. Like, and I guarantee a huge chunk of them are on doing The Witcher 4, and like going back and making sure that game is going to be as perfect as it can be. Like,
yeah,
I think it's a risk, because every patch that they're doing and fix is another like step away from new content. Because all they're doing is fixing stuff at the moment. How long down this line do we get new content for the game? Because that was already supposed to be coming out about now.
Yeah,
Right.
We're always supposed to have the current, the next gen version of it. Obviously, was supposed to be out already. That's pushed back till no date on that. And if you look at the roadmap, that looks like it's pushing to 2022 potentially. 2 years.
I think it needs to. I think they just need to just
that's a huge
cork in that.
Huge pre-release.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get me wrong, I have no problem ever with delays if it makes a game good, and it makes it right. But look at the delays they had for this, and so I'm just not confident with them. We've talked about this before, like on the podcast. Companies that we're confident with, I just don't think they'll deliver. I think the next gen will still have a plethora of errors and will still not live up to the hype that it was supposed to have.
No.
Because we're not far enough into the next gen cycle. We talked about this with God of War. Nobody knows what they can do at full power, these consoles, because we haven't got to that stage yet. So they're still working with those initial plans. And the game that we saw would be pushing the PS5 to its max, and the Xbox X and S to the max as well. So I don't know. I don't
see you in the same boat as this.
I mean, a creative director doesn't necessarily mean the ship's going to right itself. I mean, I think that's what they're hoping, for sure. But it's too little too late for the base game. This absolutely has to be for DLC. I mean, he's already worked on Dragon Age Inquisition's DLC, Star Wars: The Old Republic, which was the MMO. So he has experience with bringing
great game, by the way.
Good games, making good expansions or DLC for them, making those better. I feel like that's probably what they have to focus on right now. Because fixing the game pretty important, but we're in this weird gray area right now where we're slowly transitioning to newer consoles. So those older consoles, it makes sense to put on the back burner to maybe fix that version of the game, maybe not, because chances are people who want their refund for the base Xbox or the base PS4 versions probably have got them. So you're looking at people who probably, like myself, own the game for your Series X or your PS5, which is probably just the PS4 version. So in all likelihood, the current or last gen versions may get ignored. We may just see them focus on next gen upgrades, maybe just DLC. But by that point, which looking at the roadmap, like Adam said, that might be 2022. Who's going to care at that point? Who still cares about Cyberpunk right now? Not many people. People probably play that game for a little bit, got their refund, or people are like me and you, Terry, waiting to see if this game actually turns out to be what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And we probably won't see that till DLC 1 or DLC 2 releases. You just never know.
When will they actually come? When will they actually come? And if a new creative director has come on, they're going to get delayed. Anyway, from what they were, because he's going to want to change things.
Yeah.
You know what? I always hope I'm wrong with stuff like this. And I want to eat humble pie because I want this game to be good. I just can't see a way. And if they leave the previous gen behind, that's a shitty thing to do anyway, because they were the ones who were promised the game to start with. The game was designed for those consoles.
Yeah.
It just took that long that they moved to the next gen consoles and then gave a shitty excuse.
Well, this is what happened, and I know I keep bringing up bloody Final Fantasy 14, but this is exactly what happened with that, because that was announced this must have been not too far into the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360's lifetime, and they promised that game was coming out on those consoles, and obviously it came out and it was just an absolute broken mess, and then they rebuilt the game, but that took a couple of years. But they had to get that game out. They rushed this deadline to get that game out onto the PlayStation 3, even though it was right at the end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle. But they had to get it out because they promised people that this was going to be a PlayStation 3 game. And they got it out, and it worked, and it worked absolutely perfect. But it was right at the tail end of it. And I think we're going to see the same thing here. But honestly, this is a bit of a different case because they're not going to rebuild the game. It's just that the game is just... I just don't think that those consoles can handle that game. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't played the game, but I just don't know how they're going to get those.
They can't handle it.
No.
They should have realized that. They knew that. They knew.
That's the sad thing. Yeah. They obviously they said it was fine.
They should have said the game just can't be played on these. We're sorry. Take the hit, but then explain that they just want the best experience. But they didn't. And you're right. Yeah, Final Fantasy, obviously, but that game worked at least when it came out. They have become
the second time.
The second time. So the Cyberpunk has become the benchmark for when you say, is this game going to live up to the hype, or will it do a Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
That is in itself a ridiculous position to find yourself in if you're CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
And that explains how bad it was. The amount for them to come in and make No Man's Sky look like a minor hiccup, it's a hold my beer moment. And I don't know. Let's see what happens. But I hold out so little hope for them delivering on half of the things that they've promised. And I still don't understand this roadmap. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you are too, because I want to play it.
I usually am wrong, so I wouldn't worry about
it. We'll see. Yeah. We shall see. But that wraps up this week's Shifty Crab news break. We'll be back next. We'll be back next Friday to, I guess, discuss the upcoming E3 extravaganza.
It's like Christmas Eve next week.
It really is. Yeah. We're just going to be waiting to open all those goodies and all those presents, and waiting for Saint Nick to deliver that Bethesda goodness on the Sunday. Saint Craig, yeah. But until then, you can find the latest Shifty Crab podcast, which is now live on YouTube and all good and evil podcast services. What's the name of this week's episode, Adam?
Gardening sucks.
Gardening sucks, because guess what, guys? It really does. So you can listen to us talking about all such things as gardening, gaming, and everything in between. So please
No food
at
actually.
all.
Yeah.
No.
In the last episode, which was an absolute shock. But yeah, so go check that out. And until then, we'll be back next week on Wednesday for the next podcast. But yeah, so that wraps up our show today. Vince, as always, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Always a pleasure. Never a chore.
The best beard in the business, of course. And of course to the debating, dominating, the campaigning, reigning, Adam Very. Thank you as always.
Thank you very much. Just a reminder to everybody that next week's podcast is a special. It is the first time that you see the Shifty Crab crew all come together and play a game together. We will be playing Emily is Away too, because like Shifty Crab tradition, we start in the middle. We're going to be drinking and playing. And I will not be drinking Jack Daniels and Lucozade because boy, did I have a bad night.
Oh my God, what a horrible concoction.
What a terrible decision.
Yeah, so check that out because that's going to be fun. I can't wait to play it, guys. Can't wait. But that's it for tonight. And until next time, stay shifty.